y'all, it's your boy Kaz here for thestash.com, and we are here in the Chok Sabai gym in Midtown, New York for a brand new video series called Wrestlers and Gyms Chugging Shakes.
What the hell is Johnny Mundo doing here? Forget the dude, I thought these guys were friends. Oh my, holy.
It's hard. You know what's cool about this? Is, I think about this a lot of times. Is it helps to do this when calling matches in the ring. There's a lot of similarities between these two things.
Well, that's the one thing I want to talk about.
There's action on the fly.
Yeah.
Like 1, 2, step 2, slip 2. Then what?
That's what I want to talk to you about.
I mean,
there is a lot of aqua pauses.
Yeah.
I feel like, in Lucha Underground, you get to do so much more. You get to really showcase what you're really about.
Right.
So, a lot of this stuff is on the fly, and a lot of this stuff is very, improv. So tell me a little bit, just explain a little bit about the difference between, the action in Lucha Underground as opposed to, say, WWE, TNA, all that stuff that you see
the culture of Lucha Underground, it comes from Lucha Libre, which is Lucha is obviously a rich culture in Mexico, and traditionally Lucha Libre is faster paced, harder hitting, higher flying than TNA, than WWE, than your American pro wrestling.
Yeah.
So Lucha Underground is a fusion of that plus action movies with American storytelling infused into this thing.
Last year, you had one of the best matches I've seen anywhere, the all-night-long match with Prince Puma.
Yeah.
It was pretty much what, for people who may not be, familiar with it was pretty much like an Iron Man match, but it sprawled all through the arena. It got so much rave reviews. Tell me about working with a guy like Prince Puma, AKA Ricochet.
Talented motherfucker. Anything that you could possibly think of, he can do. A ton of ideas of his own. It's an honor working with somebody like that that's just really reinventing wrestling and doing stuff that's never been done before. He can take anything, he can give anything. With an opponent like that in the opposite corner, the opportunities to create are pretty much endless. Yeah. Which is why I think that match went so well.
The last season of Lucha Underground ended with a feud with Alberto Patron, also known as Alberto Del Rio. Tell me what it was like working with him again, especially after your run in WWE.
It felt like I was working with him for the first time because our paths crossed in WWE several times, but we had those raw matches, those 4-minute, really quick matches, and we were building up him usually to run a main event program. Yeah. And when we got to Lucha, we were the main event. We had the time, and the story was ours to tell.
It was your first time in a long time working like a real heel. And we talked a little bit about that on the podcast.
Okay, it's supposed to happen. I think we're both kind of like, jump rope a little bit. The cardio. On camera, that was like
the cardio.
45 minutes straight of rope.
Yeah. We just had to edit that for, we were doing this all day.
45-minute video would be long.
So it was really your first time in a long time since your run with Eminem and with The Miz that you worked like a legit heel as a solo act.
True.
How was that?
It was awesome, and people say that a lot, but they don't realize that the majority of my wrestling career was spent as a heel. Yeah. I didn't turn face until. Do you know when I turned face?
WrestleMania?
More about it.
Was it WrestleMania?
I think it was like 2009.
It was around
2009. Like I almost credit had a match with Mysterio in 2009. Okay. When I really feel is when my solid face turn was.
It was a lot of.
It was a face match.
Yeah. I think it was a lot of those rumble moments that you had.
Yeah.
Ooh, shakes. There we go.
I only had.
Thank you. Thank you.
Someone drank this.
No, that's yours.
You drank.
Teaching tips already. I was feeling catabolic. So I only spent 2 years as a face really with WWE. The rest of my run was all heel stuff. Yeah. When you were in heel WWE, it was a lot more like, hey, I'm better looking than you. I'm this Hollywood guy. And he is better looking than us, which is, a true fact. But in Lucha Underground, you were like more diabolical and more like, there was like a real edge to you that a lot of people didn't really get to see. That's what I think is great about Lucha Underground. The production is gritty. I feel like it's a darker world. Yeah. And I felt the freedom to be really dark, and explore that. And a lot of things have helped me with that. The acting in between WWE and Lucha Underground, all the acting classes, learning about myself has helped my heel work now. Also, just the pause, taking that break. and chilling out for a few years and thinking about who I am as a person, who I am in the ring, who I want to be in the ring going forward. Just done a lot of growing, since my WWE run.
You're the Prince of Parkour. Everybody knows that, just the way that you move and your athletic ability is some stuff that really hasn't been seen, up until like recently with a lot of the rise of the independents and like some guys here and there in like Mexico and stuff like that. A lot of people don't really see that.
But you're saying, so I kind of pretty much brought parkour to wrestling.
You pretty much did.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying people say that. And I brought parkour to wrestling.
Yeah, you definitely did. So, yeah, no, I mean, like, let's talk about it. I mean, like, just your in-ring ability, and it's a big, huge part of Lucha Underground and just Lucha Libre in general. Did that kind of like make it an easy transition for you to like go to AAA?
The times I went to AAA, I feel like, man, this is how a real luchador feels. Got my bag in a dirty locker room.
Yeah.
There's no showers. Speaking Spanish with the guys. Fans are throwing balls of beer at me.
Let's talk about it. He had like a red hot run with Rey Mysterio, and you made him bleed, and you really got booed the hell out.
No, like we had a near riot in Reynosa like that one night, and it was cool because when you hear about wrestling in the 70s and 80s and like the red hot crowds in Puerto Rico, Japan, that's what it was like.
Yeah.
And it's not like that anymore. I feel like because the curtain's been pulled back, and even though a lot of people knew what wrestling was back then, now like security is such an issue and everything's tighter. Yeah. It's like we're having like family wrestling. We want you guys to have fun, but we don't want you to be too loud. And in Mexico, I felt like
they're like, fuck it.
Have fun, guys. Like we don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Do your stuff. Like scream, cheer, just don't stab anybody.
Please don't stab anybody. All right, let's go hit the heavy bag for a little bit. You kind of have a great story because you came up through Tough Enough, and you've been to WrestleMania. You really started from the bottom type of guy. You know what I mean? And now
I started from the bottom, but my bottom was Tough Enough.
Yeah.
And a lot of people started a lot lower than I did. And I always have to remember what an opportunity I got coming into Tough Enough.
Absolutely, but when you look at guys that are in NXT, where it's pretty much developmental's not developmental anymore, it's almost like its own little brand. How does it make you feel, especially, there's not really Wrestler's Court anymore, and there's not like a lot of things that you came up with as far as like in the hard knock life of the early 2000s and coming up with guys like Undertaker and Benoit.
It's just the evolution of the business,
Yeah.
Like as WWE becomes more and more corporate, and everyone's taking selfies and posting stuff, they're not going to be able to have Wrestler's Court. They're not going to be able to chop guys overseas because it's going to end up on the internet. And somebody's going to sue somebody about saying something stupid, and then everybody looks stupid. So it's kind of cool in some ways, you know?
I mean, you're the veteran now, like, so did that kind of like shape how you help bring people up?
It's the evolution of an athlete and an artist.
Okay.
I mean, think of today's artists and athletes. We're drinking Avion water, and we want to make sure it's pH balanced.
Yeah.
And we're taking our antioxidants and our multivitamins. Back in the day, man, Morrison and Hendrix and Joplin were like waking up,
chugging beer,
Daniels, smoking. There was no concept of health or longevity. It was just raw emotion.
Yeah.
And times have changed, and there's some better and some worse. Sometimes you get a more corporate feel, and maybe the environment is more like a bunch of nerds like trying to do a good job. Which is who I thought of when I thought of like being an awesome pro wrestler when I was a kid. But on the other hand, being a part of that locker room means you're not gonna have to stay out till 6 a.m. drinking overseas and getting picked on and bullied. I think it's cool. I don't feel like necessarily like heavily one way or the other about it. It's just the way it is.
Did that kind of shape, since you're a veteran now, like did that kind of like shape how people look at you? Like, did you not want people to like go through the stuff that you went through? Like, hey man, like when I was on tour, we was just drinking horribly. We're not doing like really great stuff to our bodies.
And when I came in, it was at the tail end of that. I had nothing to complain about. I really loved my career and all the experiences. I think it's cool to watch what's happening with wrestling. I'm a fan of it now. I was a fan of it when I was a kid. And it's cool to see now what's happening with Lucha, and it's cool to think about where it's going to be 5 years from now.
One of the best matches, the all night long match. We did a stash countdown of best matches of the year. It was up there. I think it was like 20 something, but it was insane. It was pretty insane.
Cool. Stash countdown is like best matches of all time? Or
of
like
the year.
2015?
Of 2015.
And that was like 20?
Who was up there? Dude, that was a lot. It was a good year of wrestling, man. It was a good year. We did like 50.
You guys like put a number on it.
Oh,
you
God.
said like it was up there.
Hey, man, listen. You were there, okay?
The 20th best match of 2015.
What, you gonna fight me over it now? Please don't. I'm just saying. This has been the first episode of Wrestlers in Gyms Chugging Shakes. See you guys next time.
What's up, y'all? It's your boy Kaz, and we're over here at the Chok Sabai Gym in Midtown, New York City. And we are here for a brand new video series called Wrestlers Getting Protein Shakes? Wrestlers in Gym Chugging Shakes.